And my promise to you is that I'm going to show up 100%. I'm going to give you everything I can for the next 30 minutes, everything I have. It's going to be open, honest, real, and raw. But as long as you can give me a little grace in return, we're going to have a great time. So I love that intro video. You got to meet my wonderful family, my handsome husband, my son Luke, my daughter Ellie Grace, and it has caught you up to the first 4 years in 2 minutes, which is amazing, the speed that it can do. And in these last 5 months, that's what I'm going to talk about today, what doTERRA has given me and blessed me with, and the new perspective I have moving forward in this new line. So today we're going to zoom in a little bit, but before we go there, Russell Butters called me to do this presentation a couple weeks ago. And I was in Houston, and I just finished teaching a couple classes. And it's amazing when you get on an airplane that the Wi-Fi is down and you don't have kids around you, how your brain can start turning and you can actually think, right? So I was on the plane and we were taking off and I was looking down and I saw everything. Can't you see everything so clearly from up above? And I thought, wouldn't it be great if you could see life from a 30,000-foot view? You could see the beginning, you could see the end, you could see the highs, you could see the lows, and you could see, more importantly, what was on the other side of those lows. You could see the detours that you didn't have to take. Wouldn't that be great? Well, I'm going to zoom in for you on right there at that August, September time this past year, because our build has been wonderful. We enrolled and went to convention, and we're going to zoom in right there. Now, anytime that I see somebody on stage, when I was a silver and a gold, I'm like, tell me everything. Tell me all the details you have. I want to know how you think, what's going on, because that's how I get and gather information and implement it into my life and how I know what to look forward to in the future. So in September, we had been diamond, solid diamond for well over a year and a half at this point. I'm sure everyone here, because you're a leader, and you had to be a leader to get here, that you're very familiar with vision boards. We had crossed a lot off of our list. We paid off some debt. We actually got to go on an anniversary trip, our 10-year anniversary trip to New York City, where we got engaged. And these were the things that we hadn't crossed off of our vision board just yet, and we were on our way. I don't know about you, but I get emotionally attached, me and my husband both, to cars, and we have a tendency to hold on to them till they decide to depart from us. And so my husband was picking out his car and had decided on this Toyota Tacoma. We had spent almost a year in the works of purchasing his grandmother's home, the home that his mom grew up in, and that's my son in the backyard. It's this beautiful sanctuary, and I imagined all the good, juicy nuggets. I was gonna sit just relaxing in the sunshine of Sweet Home, Alabama, where my family all lives, right? Alabama girls, real tough. And it was just going to be amazing. The greenhouse is there, and we were going to renovate the inside and really make it our own. And a part of that renovation was going to be a nursery. Now, I know I'm outing all of us women here. When we start trying to have a baby, right, we just have our secret notes tab in our phone where you have all the potential names. And then you have your secret Pinterest board with all the potential nurseries. So I'm sorry I'm outing us, but this was one of mine. And so we got to this point of August, and we had all these things in the works, and it was wonderful. And convention comes around, and I'm so excited because aren't you excited to see your team and support your team? To meet people that you've only met via Zoom, and now you get to hug their necks because you feel like you really know them already. And I had a line to go to California for a leadership retreat right before that. And it wasn't doTERRA related, but you know, anything personal development is always doTERRA related. And so they butted up right next to each other. So I took my kids and I drove them from Nashville, Tennessee, where I live, all the way down to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They were gonna spend some good quality grandparent time. Now my husband, he is amazing. And he was gonna drive and get the kids on that Friday. He took the day off work. They were gonna have a wonderful pool day, afternoon together, and bring them back to spend some quality daddy time together. So we talked that morning, and I'm not a paranoid person, but after a couple responses from some text messages, I got to be a little bit more nervous. And then I texted my mom, send me some pictures, I want to know how it's going. And I get up and go to the restroom, get in line. And then by the time I get to the front of the line, I looked at my phone and I had a text message from her. And then I had a voicemail. And I couldn't really hear, so I knew I could look and read it. And I read those words, "Julia, I need you to call me back. Very important. I need you to call me back." And right then I started praying. I'm like, "God, please let everything be okay as fast as I can." I just kept saying it over and over again until I got outside those walls. And then I called her. And she said, "Is somebody with you?" And I knew that when she was saying that something was wrong. And then she said the words that will forever ring in my ears when I hear them. She said, "Tady's been in a car accident, and he passed away." And I fell to my knees. She started to recite that it was 20 minutes away from where they were. It was a windy 2-lane road. They didn't have cell phone service, but I couldn't really hear it. I just told her that I had to go, and then I hung up the phone. And I knew who I needed to see. And I ran all the way into that Salt Lake Palace, all the way up to the second row. And I looked from where my upline was, and probably said a little bit louder than I needed to, "Where's Sherry?" By the time I got to the back of the Salt Palace, I grabbed her and we fell to our knees. And those next 2 hours were really a blur of picking up my stuff, getting me packed up, moving me to her hotel room, and starting to make call after call after call. One of my best friends and sideline partners took me to the airport. She captured this picture. She shared it with me about a month ago, and I can clearly remember how I felt. I had nothing left in me. I was calling his friends, some of which had talked to him just a couple hours before on his 4-hour drive. I had to let them know what had happened before they heard it from somebody else, or worse yet, on Facebook. And all I wanted was my best friend, and to get home to my children. So all I could do was unscrew the cap and smell. And I don't even remember thinking those things. It's just what we do, because we've been trained to do that. Because I knew subconsciously these oils could do more for me than I could even think to do for myself at this time. And I tell you, that day, those oils took on a whole new meaning. I knew the next day I would have to face my children when I woke up. My son was 5 at the time, and my daughter 2. And I would have to do the hardest thing that you ever hope to face when you're a parent. I hope that that's the hardest thing I'll ever have to do. And I took him outside of my parents' house. And my daughter, she didn't really understand. She was only 2. My son, he's 5. He gets it. He was crying and crying and crying. And there's not much in life that you want to do more than help your child when they're in that place. And we went inside and we sat on the couch. And I asked him, "Hey buddy, do you want some oils?" And then he said, "Do you have an oil that will help me with missing my daddy in heaven. So many things go through your head, right, as a mom? Like, what can I say? What can I do? What's next? How can I explain all these things that I want to give him in this moment? And then I remember Emily Wright being on stage yesterday. And I remember writing in those notes that Brave Oil instills confidence in kids. And I will forever be grateful for that. Because I had a conviction kit that I traveled home with, and I got that Brave Oil out. And I rubbed it on him. And I said, we do have an oil for that. And I instilled the truths that I knew that he would attach to that oil as he continued to smell it. There will always be somebody who loves him. That his dad knows how much he loves him, and his dad loves him more than anything in the world. And we are a family, and it's okay to cry. Bravery is not about drying up your tears. It's about experiencing them and then knowing that there is beauty that can come from these ashes. And to see that little boy haul that Brave Oil around for the next couple weeks, everybody who would come over and bring us meals, he would hold it up and he would say, this is my Brave Oil. And it helps me missing my daddy in heaven. Just so bluntly and so confidently. Those oils, I have a newfound, deep appreciation for what they've given me. After the funeral, reality started setting in. And I had a newfound appreciation for the business that I had grinded and hustled out these last 4 years. Did you know this average funeral costs between $7,000 to $10,000? You have attorney fees associated with going to probate. You have tax advice you have to pay for. In my case, you have travel back and forth. You have existing bills, mortgage, credit card payments that don't stop, all with a complete, immediate loss of an income. A friend of mine said, don't they give you a little grace period? And I said, well, when you trade time for money, and you're no longer giving them time anymore, they're no longer giving you money. It's not like doTERRA. You have ongoing things, children's therapy. Of course, we know as wellness advocates that anything that you experience emotionally, you experience physically. And I knew that I needed more help. Adult therapy, any kind of self-care you're doing, that's added on top. I just say this to you because doTERRA was my safety net during this time. It's what held me up. Do you realize if I had a 9-to-5 job, like this struck me 3 weeks afterwards. If I had a 9-to-5 job, I would have gotten 3 to 5 days worth of bereavement. I would have to go back to work. I would have to send my kids back to school where I couldn't govern what people were saying to them or even establish kind of what their emotional health and well-being was when they were away from me. And I really don't know how anybody with a full-time job does all the paperwork that you never know you have to do after someone passes away. Now let's say I was doing one of the most noble jobs in the world, and I was a stay-at-home mom. What I've found and learned and read is most people with that kind of circumstance, I homeschool my 5-year-old, 6-year-old now. I would have had to put him in school. I would have had to put my daughter in full-time daycare. I would have to go get a job that I really didn't want, and I wouldn't have wanted to be there with people I didn't know. And I wouldn't have gotten the time that I needed to grieve. Even if I would have owned my own business with a brick and mortar, it would have looked a lot different. And what would happen 3, 6, 9 months down the road is what I found that most people, women, end up losing their homes and having to make decisions based out of fear. I have a new respect for the business because residual income gives you time and financial freedom to celebrate life's greatest moments. And it gives you time and financial freedom to heal through life's most challenging moments. I got to spend time with the two people that needed it the most, my two children, with the person that needed to be there to take care of them. And then I got to work on my emotional healing. Let's be honest, I'm still there. We're still on this journey. I am definitely not through, but I get to be there with my kids. I get to hold them when I need to. I get to go to every therapy appointment. I get to be there when it matters the most. Another blessing of the business I've always said is community. Now, my background is professional cheerleading. I know teams. I danced in college on dance teams. I know teams, I know communities. Whew. But this community takes on a whole new form, and this is a community that I never have to give up. That's why I love it. Now, my mom didn't just say, when she called me that day that Tandy passed away, "Is someone with you?" Her specific words says, "Sherry, with you." Because even though my mom doesn't do the business, has never met my upline, we do work just like we do life, and they coexist together. And my mom knew the person I would need, and well, hopefully the darkest moment of my life, would be Sherry. She is not only a business partner, she is a life mentor, a spiritual mentor, and I would never call her my mom because she's far too young for that. But maybe a cool aunt or great big sister. But that woman means more to me. She flew all the way out here just this morning, just to be here. My team has rallied around me. They are amazing. This is a picture right after the funeral. Some of them hopped on a plane all the way from Salt Lake to travel back to their hometown, to then get in a car with their family of 6 to drive 9+ hours to be by my side. They are amazing. This doesn't even include the sideline people that came from Nashville, Russell Butters, who came from the corporate office. These pictures don't show the fact that out of everyone I text to help me a couple weeks ago with a yard sale that needed to happen, the people who showed up to help me price, to help me put out, to help me organize, to help me run the thing when I couldn't be out there sometimes to see things go, was my doTERRA team. Community is everything. Now, within these 4 walls, we know what doTERRA, right, as a culture, as a whole conglomerate looks like. Because I think most people outside of these 4 walls would think, I can earn residual income a lot of different ways. I can earn it with a lot of different companies. But we know within inside these 4 walls that other companies are not like doTERRA.
True.
Russell came to my husband's funeral. What I didn't know is that he brought a suitcase with him. And when Sherry Freeman went back to my house, because I asked her to pray over my home before me and the kids had to come back for the first time, I opened the doors to see this on my couch. A gift, not only a gift, but a personalized gift. And it's a card that read, "We heard bedtime stories were some of your favorite." And you guys, the only way they could have known that is that after the busiest week of the year with doTERRA, out of over 5 million customers that we have, they would have taken the time to read his obituary, and to know that bedtime stories is what he was legendary known for with our kids. And you know what? Each one of those books is signed personally as we opened them up by Emily Wright, by Mark, by Russell, by Shannon Bible. And they were notes to my children about how their daddy loves them and how they're going to be strong and how they love them as a doTERRA family. What other company would do this? You guys? So community will always and forever be an amazing blessing of this business. And it continues to rise above and above and above any expectations that you will ever have. Now, other blessings of this business that it's given me, my husband was never going to teach a class. And I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I probably wouldn't have ever released the back office to him to do. I love it. I really love geeking out on the numbers. But you know what? He did this business with me because he supported me. Because if he wasn't in the front row of every talk that I did, smiling, he was keeping the kids at home so I could be there. Because he believed in what I was doing, and he believed in me. He also taught me to celebrate. I don't know if you're like me, but once I hit a milestone, I'm really good at helping my team celebrate, but celebrating me is a little bit of a different story. It's like, okay, what's on? What's the next thing? Let's move on to the next thing. And you don't sit and soak in your accomplishments and celebrate them. But he made me celebrate them. We always said when I hit diamond, we would buy a pair of Louis Vuitton shoes. And he had a lot more fashion style than I did, actually, surprising to most people. And it took him about 8 months to get me into Nordstrom. I know it's crazy. Why should that take so long? I know. We were with our 2 kids. I think they probably kick people out with kids that weren't looking at expensive shoes, so I kind of bribed them before we went in. But I didn't really have the style we kind of wanted and the size I wanted, and I wasn't willing to spend money on shoes that just weren't quite right. And so we left there without, and I was like, we'll just wait until the next thing, right? You know what that stinker did? I was in San Diego the next week. I was there for work. Here I am with one of my top leaders. And he texted me while I was sitting at dinner and said, there's a pair of shoes waiting behind the counter, already purchased at Nordstrom for you. You have to go and pick them up. He made me celebrate my accomplishments because they're worth celebrating. Because they're more than a rank, they're more than money. They are what you have done and a reflection of the people that you've helped and a reflection of the person that you've become. And for that, I will ever be grateful. I think this picture perfectly dictates our relationship. Y'all saw the nice little twirl out in the intro video. What you didn't see is when you got to the bottom of the stairs. I feel like there's 2 types of people in this world. People that cry daintily, and then people that do the ugly cry. Well, I'm the latter of the 2. And when you get to the bottom of the stairs, when you walk, they're the executives. And they're hugging you and high-fiving you. And I remember Ange Peters giving me a hug that had mentored me just the summer before. And I was nice and big and pregnant. And it all hit me. It'd been 9 months since I've hit diamond, but it hit me in that moment. Everything that my husband always saw in me, I saw in myself as I walked down that carpet, as I saw my team celebrating. It was overwhelming. And And the belief that came with that was so real and so overpowering. And you can see him just smug. He's an introvert, so it was good that he was actually out there walking, but he was like, of course she's got it. And he looked at me afterwards, he was like, yes, I knew you could do it. When are you gonna be on the magazine cover? And I'm like, hold up, let's take it one step at a time, you know? But the belief, and it's one thing for you yourself to feel the belief in you that somebody saw that now you see, but it's another when you give it to someone else. And one of the greatest gifts that I got was about a month after Tandy passed away. One of my builders called me. We were up late talking one night, and she said, you know, the day that Tandy passed, only a couple of my leaders knew, because I had to get home to my kids first, and I didn't want anybody else knowing. She said, so we put on our smiling faces, because we had to, and we went to this convention party for our team. And she said, when I walked in, she said, I finally saw it. People were coming up to me saying, your video helped me so much. Your live helped me so much. And she said, for the first time, I saw everything that you kept saying you saw in me. And you guys, that is what we're here for. And that's what we have the ability to do, is not only see it in ourselves, but to instill it in others and to stand for people until they see it in themselves. So now when I go to class, these poor Austin people and Houston people that I went to teach to a couple weeks ago, I was like all in. Because I have such a new view of what the oils can actually do for you when you can't do for yourself. The residual income, the community, the belief, but these are just words. These are feelings to me, and if I could put the feelings in pictures, this is what they would be. I have the ability to give oils when you have nothing else in you. Residual income does not look like a pile of money. It looks like me with my kids. I am here with a community of people that are ready to welcome them with open arms, whether they are a customer, just using the oils and bettering their life, or they're a business builder and we want to link arms and run with them. I am here for belief, and I can offer them somebody that will stand for them when they want to quit, because you better know I had my moments of wanting to quit. And guess what? Thank goodness I never did, because it's always worth it. So I take it back to this 30,000 foot view, and I don't think that God caused the accident to happen. But I do know that he knows the beginning from the end. And if he knows the beginning from the end, I certainly know that 4 years ago he placed this in my life in a place where he knew that it would bring me ease and people around me to help hold me up during this time. And as I zoom in down a little bit closer to 10,000 feet, this was taken the day that Tandy passed away, right after I'd taken off. I could see where I'd been. When you're hovering over that time period, I could kind of think where I'm going next. But I chose, and someone said this to me, there's always going to be darkness, but when you're in the darkness, the darkest places, there's always a little bit of light. And as long as you focus on that light and find the light, it will come. And when we get to 0,000 feet, 0 feet right here, what I can't control is how I'm going to show up. I know that I don't have to be. I get to be the example for my kids. That you don't have to have it all together. That you can be broken. But you can still know the truth of what's up ahead. And there's always beauty that can be made from ashes. And that what I do matters as a mom, but also in this world. I I'm here for a reason, and I'm still here for a reason, because there's more for me to do. We are here right now, not by accident. There are no coincidences, I believe now, for sure. I have seen more things in these last 5 months than ever before, and I'm just really good at tuning in and listening. But y'all are here for a reason, and I don't know what that was for this week. Maybe it was a speaker, maybe it was finding a new friend, maybe it was just investing in yourself to make it here and show up. But whatever that is, we get to choose how we're gonna act on it when we move outside of these 4 walls. And I don't know about you, but we have a whole lot to be offering people. We have a whole lot that we can give. I'm just gonna wrap up with this. I found that I don't need to have all the right answers. I just need to rely on the one that does. Amen. As long as I'm clear on the next step, and I step in despite of my fear, it will always turn out better than I could have ever planned. Because it's not about my agenda, it's about what I'm called to do. And as long as I tune in my ears a little bit more, if I lessen the distractions and the busyness to actually focus in and dial that in, that we are here for great things. And I'm here to live on his legacy. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here today, and thank you for